Well, my dear friends, we finally have our first look at Skeleton Crew, and would you believe it, a release date. And with Disney D23 Expo next week, we might be getting some footage very soon. Unless, by the time this video goes out, there is already a trailer, but if not, then I do expect our first look on August 9th. But lots of big information in this video. This is pretty awesome. And I've got to say, based on what Jude Law says in this interview with People magazine, this is going to be the palate cleanser I think Star Wars needs. Zero expectations. If you wanted a festive, silly show this December, then this is for you. As we've spoken about, it's very Amblin inspired by E.T., Goonies, even Stranger Things to some extent, but it's family friendly, aimed at children, and full of heart. I've already seen a lot of backlash for this show, but this is the one series to not take too seriously. This isn't a Sith-oriented show. Yes, it's set during the Mandoverse, and there are going to be some connections to the Mandalorian Season 3 with the pirates, possibly the Ahsoka show, possibly Book of Boba Fett, because we are going back to Tatooine. But it's a fun, jovial, silly adventure set in space, and to be honest, when you look at it with that frame of mind, I think ironically this is going to be one of the most enjoyable Star Wars shows. I'm really digging some of these first photos, really cool to see the young Ortolan, Neil. We also have some massive information about some of the voice actors, and some of the things we can expect, not to mention BMX, 80s style bikes. So the big headline that came out this afternoon, Jude Law has officially joined the famed intergalactic universe with Star Wars Skeleton Crew. They say this is releasing on December 3rd. In People's exclusive first look at the latest addition to the iconic franchise, we also have the names of the characters. Jude himself is playing a character called Jod Nah Narwood, and it's described as a coming-of-age series with the following synopsis. When 4 kids make a mysterious discovery on their seemingly safe home planet, they get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy. My conspiratorial brain says, do they mean the known galaxy or Peridia? And speaking of which, if you've not done so already, please check out the video I posted earlier today. We had a small tidbit for Ahsoka Season 2 and plenty of speculation. But anyway, going back to this. Finding their way home, meeting unlikely allies and enemies will be a greater adventure than they had ever imagined. Light-hearted fun. In addition to Jude Law, child actors Ravi Cabo-Conyers, who plays a character called Wim, Kryana Crater, who plays a character called KB, Robert Timothy Smith, who plays the young Ortolan, and Ryan Kira Armstrong, who plays Fern, will also star in the new show. When asked about what fans can expect, Jude Law said this. The first word that comes to mind is joyful, and we all know Star Wars absolutely needs some joy, and considering this comes out in December, this is going to be right on the money for what Star Wars needs around the festive season. He also explains viewers will watch the kids, quote, maneuver through places they shouldn't be in, with lots of references to the old films and Easter eggs to recent shows. But there's also a lot of originality, and I hope to bring the feeling of fun to those who watch it. And I know fans are going to take it very seriously, but at the end of the day, this is the show marketed to be very juvenile, silly, take it at face value, and if you watch it in this light, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it so much more. Jude emphasizes it's a coming-of-age story about working together, overcoming your fears, and overcoming your own insecurities, your own opinion of yourself, and your weaknesses, in order to succeed. The creators of the show, Jon Watts and Chris Ford, shared the same sentiments, weighing in by saying this, because Jude is with the kids all the time, he's also felt like the co-director and co-producer with us, and in many ways he's a co-acting coach, giving advice and tips. He really became a mentor, in and out of the show, and he didn't have to do it. They say it's because that's the kind of guy he is, and it was nice, it made things work great. And so I guess we can maybe disregard some of what we've heard in recent days, the rumour that this show was a disaster behind the scenes, and even if that was the case, Lucasfilm seems confident to want to put this out. There's also a major reveal for a new droid, SM-33, who People.com confirmed is voiced by Nick Frost. He's described as a rusty, old, cranky droid that is a reluctant help to the kids in their journey along the way. And Frost's contributions are noted to be absolutely perfect, and he says the other thing about him is he is the first mate of a mysterious ship. Are they talking about the Onyx Cinder? And he says to fans, of course you're expecting to work with droids and aliens, but you forget they're brought to life in front of you by these extraordinary people who have skills, whether it's puppets or as animatronic experts. You're surrounded by this stuff, and they're as much a part of the cast as those that are flesh and blood. And as I say guys, I'm a really big fan of the 80s aesthetic. You know, in the 2020s we're really going through a renaissance of this kind of style. It's gonna work so harmoniously in Star Wars, I can already tell. And Jon Watts goes on to explain that these bikes were an integral part of telling the story of a childhood adventure, not just for the audience tuning in, but also for the child actors involved. They mention how these bikes were on rails, and they would slide back and forth, left to right, and basically it was just a lot of fun. And in reality, it looks insane for the kids. But the showrunner notes, they couldn't stop smiling, they were having so much fun. And here's something very important to note. Because the original Star Wars trilogy came out in the late 70s, early 80s, they wanted to match the retro aesthetic, as if this show came out back then. They say there are tons of Easter eggs that fans are going to really enjoy, and I've got a feeling a lot of them harken back to Return of the Jedi. Aliens, maybe Jabba's palace, or should I say Boba's palace, or if they go back a little bit then Bib Fortuna's palace. And the word joyful keeps coming up time and time again in these interviews. Watts confirms lore sentiments that there are a lot of Easter eggs and it's going to be a lot of fun with a ton of deep cut references. And once again, my dear friends, this is going to be 8 episodes releasing on December 3rd. So, how did Star Wars fans react? Well, so far, it's still early days, but it's been a mixed response. Shall we take a look? Let's check it out. Kids will love this show, so expect a bunch of grown adults to be mad about this for some reason. Look, I understand the frustration at Lucasfilm. Recent Star Wars shows like The Acolyte, definitely not everyone's cup of tea, including my own. But this one, I would say just see it as a kid-friendly show. It looks really cute and quaint, so with zero expectation, I think we're going to have more fun with it. I don't know if it's going to take itself as seriously as The Mandalorian or Ahsoka. I'm guessing not. Show of the year incoming? I really hope so. I don't think it can top The Bad Batch, very different styles. The next comment is, so is this essentially like Star Wars Goonies? That is exactly what this is. That little elephant looking guy looks adorable. They're talking about Neil. Glad to see Eeyore getting another role. He kind of does look like Eeyore. Hopefully it will be better than the last few series. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to jump the gun. I'm not saying this is going to be the best thing ever made. When Star Wars is deliberately trying to be silly, that's where it succeeds in this kind of genre. But this is a very new kind of addition to Star Wars. So I would say the silliest aspects of a show like Book of Boba Fett are going to be pretty prevalent in this, for better or for worse. I've got a good feeling. Let's wait and see. What do you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. And make sure to check out the video I posted earlier. May the Force be with you, always.